We're on to learning unit number 9, palliative care and medical aid in dying. And this is an extended learning unit, so you have more time to complete because we start our Easter break April 1st through 6th. So please note the date, March 23rd to March 31st before our Easter break. So when you click on, you're going to be watching this video, and as always, we have our description of what we're learning, the objectives, and the learning activities or assessments. It might seem like you've got a lot, but most of the learning activities are very short learning activities that lead to some strong learning outcomes. So if we looked at the learning outcomes, you're going to be able to talk more about medical aid in dying while also analyzing the death with dignity laws that surround it. So medical aid in dying is the process that we're looking at, and that there are laws, and they're called death with dignity laws. But we're really talking about the same thing, all part of helping someone die with medical assistance, with medication. So you're going to be able to identify the specific criteria that a person who wishes to use medical aid in dying must meet, the impact of medical aid in dying on healthcare providers, the terminally ill patient, as well as families. You're going to really look at potential ethical issues that could arise. And also, because we have integrated mindfulness in this, you're going to experience a mindful body scan. So let's look further at the specifics. So I want to do a little bit more as far as the readings in your APA the easy way. So there's not too much, but look at pages 14 to 15 and pages 17 to 21. So look through this information. It's building on your ability to cite your sources in a scholarly manner. So that's the first short readings. There is a 2-minute video that really will help you answer the discussion board because it's going over what is palliative care and how does that differ from hospice care, all in 2 minutes. Then there's a web page that speaks to palliative care, and it includes a definition. It includes some other really good information, and please watch the very brief video for that too, because that really will help you understand palliative care and how it differs from hospice. And that's going to be an outcome of this learning unit. And then this is, I think this is pretty neat. It's just a survey from this website. And is palliative care right for you? Well, I'm not really asking that question of you. I'm asking, is it right for a specific person, a patient? And you can see then some of the criteria for palliative care, who this is important to. So we're talking about palliative care, which differs from hospice care, which totally differs from medical aid in dying. So if we're talking about 3 different things, but I just want you to look over what would be, who would be right to be receiving palliative care. I just thought it was a great way to, really look at that. So then here's your smiling app. I'm asking you to do either a short body scan. It's going to take 4 minutes of your time. Or you can do a longer body scan. Maybe in the evening you want to do that. Or maybe you want to do both. That's up to you. I ask that you do one of them. And then here's a brief definition that you just have to read. What's the difference between assisted dying, so like medical aid in dying, and euthanasia? And it's important that you know these 2 terms and how they differ because many people in the US do not understand those terms. Here's an article about New York State that did legalize. The governor did sign legislation to allow medical aid in dying in New York State. Again, it doesn't go into effect until later this 2026. This is a website that's very beneficial, Compassion and Choice, Medical Aid in Dying. So again, review the information on this page. The video is supplemental. That means optional, but it is helpful. So go ahead with that. Here is a 5-minute video that shares an individual story. I always think it's so helpful when we are learning about something to actually hear from someone who is experiencing end of life and who is experiencing death with dignity and looking at medical aid in dying. Here's a nice map that shows what states, and it's current too, right? So it shows what states have medical aid in dying legal status, where it is allowed, and what states where it's pending. And then it also looks at other states. And you can see many states in our country do not have residents of those states do not have access to medical aid in dying. Oregon was one of the first, and we've got California, but it is interesting to see more in the Northeast. And of course, there's a key, and there's discussions about what states are actually looking at it, and states that already have it that might be losing medical aid and dying as far as legally to allow that in that state. So again, see, a lot of these things are very quick and easy, but they're all going to build on number one, answering the questions, the 10 questions for quiz number 9. And that is going to test your information on all of the above, like how much you picked up on medical aid in dying, palliative care, hospice, and euthanasia. You're going to have 30 minutes and you're only going to have one attempt to complete. So please don't click on until you're ready to take this quiz. And then the discussion board is set up so it's reviewing with you again some information. I'm telling you what states have death with dignity statutes, what states allow medical aid in dying. And after reviewing all the materials for this week, answer these 3 questions. And you're looking at ethical principles. And remember, in learning unit number 7, we discussed ethical principles. So you may want to go back and look at either your discussion board or some of the material that you were able to define ethical principles. You're going to explain what medical aid in dying is. You're going to cite your resources here, and for 1 and 2. Number 3 is more of your opinion about medical aid in dying. No reply is required for this learning unit, and you have until March 31st to complete. Now, before I end, because that's learning unit number 9, I want to remind you about, or to tell you about, not remind you, but to tell you about an assignment. So for this course, the first tab is the intro, and that's where you find the syllabus. The second is the assignments tab. And when you click on there, you've already looked at discussion board, but if you want to do better in your discussion boards, you can go back and look at the rubric. You've done your herbal presentation. So now you have ethical debate on medical aid in dying. And this is due at the end of learning unit number 10. And there's a 5-minute video that I put together to help you look at this grading rubric and to know that by the end of learning unit 10, which is April 12th, you're going to be completing this assignment. It's a 2-page paper, but watch the video instructions for that this week so you can plan ahead to complete this next assignment, just as you did for the herbal presentation. Have a good week, and I think I've covered everything that I wanted to share with you. And enjoy your Easter break. Might be a little bit short, but it's going to be very welcome.